Well, right now we're standing at the, I guess it'd be called the underpass of the Illinois Central, Canadian National Illinois Central Railroad, where our drainage canal from the more populated areas of the village of Tangipahoa is located.
And the day of the flood, tell us how did all the water end up on this side of the track?
Well, as you know, as we're explaining, that this canal brings all of the water off of the most populated area of the village of Tangipahoa, and it brings it through, and it's supposed to take it out to the river so that it won't flood in these more populated areas.
So when it takes it out to the river, I see there's a street right here. So where does it connect to once it get past here?
Well, as you can see as well, the width of the drainage canal on the west side of Railroad Avenue is much greater than the width of the drainage canal on the, well, you can't even see that there's a drainage canal on the east side, and all of the debris that was on the railroad is now in the residents' yards and so forth. So I think that it had to be clogged, or that the drainage is not sufficient enough in order to take the water off of the residents of the village.
So all the residents of this village on this side, they was completely flooded?
Everybody on this east side of the tracks were completely flooded. There was an overflow of water coming on to Highway 440, which is behind us here, and all of the residents are living north of 440 within the village, which is between, I mean, it sounds like I'm doing, but it's between the Tangipahoa River and our drainage canal that keeps us high and dry, supposedly.
So you're in between the drainage canal and the river?
And well, we're in, actually, now that you mention it that way, we are kind of, it's an island now, because you have the drainage canal that runs south of the area in which we're viewing, and we have the Beaver Creek, which is on the north side of where we stand, and on the east side is Tangipahoa River, where both bodies of water are flowing into.
How many homes would you estimate is back here?
Oh, back here we have to have in excess of 50 homes in this area, and I think that each home in this area may have taken on water or was affected by the water, because most of the homes are mobile homes and they're sitting on blocks, and even with the fact that they have been tied down, the water was so swift to whereas it shift them on their foundations. It
came so quickly, huh?
It happened extremely quickly. I personally, and I know you were up before me, I was up around the 7 o'clock, 7:15 hour, and I heard within my own home just a gurgling type sound, and that was in my bathroom. And when I looked outside, it was almost as if we had a river flowing around my house, and I had no water at that time. And then it wasn't 30 minutes later that I had a foot of water inside my home.
I actually made it here about 5:15 to start the evacuation process. Me and the chief of Kentwood came down, and at that time the water was coming, but it was not with the tremendous force.
So how did you get back here?
I actually never made it this far. I stopped at Brown's Chapel Church right there where we was evacuating peoples, and then we came back down to Highway 440 and come across and start evacuating peoples.
So the people had to find their way to the track?
People, and when we had wildlife and fishery come, their thing was to rescue them, and they would bring them to the track, and they had to walk from there.
Yeah, and those that didn't have an opportunity, you know, there was the emergency vehicles. Once the Army, the National Guards or whoever sent in, they were able to come into this area because of their high water vehicles and get the rest of the people that were back here in this area, and or the areas that we can't see from here, but they are in the same region of town.